Beautiful vibes. What the heck is going on, right? So a lot of changes are opening up because the divide is truly happening between the old system and the new system fusing in. So that is definitely not easy to understand because the light planes are actually fusing with the physical planes. And so it's going to be very easy for those people remaining in light, having opened up to their light and deciphering what needs to be deleted, deciphering how to move on, deciphering actually to comprehend what the universe is bringing through. And that could be massive because when you look in the back here, you see massive particles opening up into light waves opening up into designs. This is a cross designing in the pink way. So it is something to pay attention to because more and more people are going into the inside and seeking the divine within, seeking reconnection with who they truly are, with everything they lost. And so people are feeling that they want more out of their lives. They want more beyond the awakening. And so, beyond the term ego survival, people will once again feel and break away from the old control, break away from the veil or lift the veil. And so there's different things going on. There's people freshly awakening, seeking to understand light, not feeling it, not knowing how to do it. And that is perfect. It's a good way to start to open up and understand that we are light embodiments that have carbonized. Then there's people on the stop and go syndrome, opening up their light, thinking there is no investment to be done, and that is no longer true. So they actually, let's say, sink in their own creations, their vibrations, not seeking to understand that evolution requires everyday upgrades, everyday new skills, and also the level of respect to connect with the divine 24/7, being in divine alignment. And that is, while we override the densities, a very compact, dense form we were born upon, we start to understand that expansion happens when we start to eliminate the veil, every filter we created, and instead of living from the outside in, so taking everything in the outside world in the inner world, we open up the inner world. We start to breathe from the inside out, defeating the old system, defeating the old shortcomings, defeating luck, defeating limitations. And that's a huge artwork in progress because we are all feeling that we have huge potential. And now that the divine has stepped out throughout all the planes, which is massive, the entire planet is restructuring and refinding its place, rearranging its atoms, its molecules. And so we need to rearrange and purify the cells to match what is required by the divine. So setting up our meditation beyond the divide, then we reconnect with what people call the higher self. I would call it the spark self. It's all the same. It's all the same. But when I say spark self, I can feel these vibrant energies, these sparks opening up, opening up. And I have had years and years of training. And right now, if we can put our consciousness in this vast universe, looking at that we are part of not only this galaxy, but many galaxies, and that everything that happened to the Earth or the star is also in repair in other systems which we are part of. So we have so many skills, so much potential. If only we break free, realign to the divine at all times, find your spark self, your direct connect to your source back. And so when these things happen, quite obviously, the other side, the densified side, will try to control more and more and more because they feel they are losing their grip on humanity, or at least the control and everything that happened as in the manipulation, especially where it comes to understanding what you attract is what you create, and that is still something people have a difficult time with to understand. So oftentimes when we have repetitive patterns and we don't seem to break through them, it seems that we allow them in our energy field, somewhere dormant in the brain, in mentality and psychology, in the emotional body. So these are very important to break through, because we are actually breaking through the veils, opening the bridge beyond the veil, meaning moving beyond the Pleiades, moving beyond Arcturus, and creating the arcs of consciousness into the gates of higher knowledge through which we have all access. And so we all were birthed on a particular energetic signature. And when we find that, or at least meditate and invited to resurrect from the ground floor to the inner massive activities going on, because what you see in the back of this screen also happens under earth, and I can feel it to the feet, it happens to the brain, it happens to everything we think, we touch, we cultivate, and we upgrade into. So here's when we filter through, we stand still why things are repeating themselves, why you can't break through them. That's usually old patterns in the brain that are very dormant. They are either in the subconscious levels of the brain, the deep subconscious hidden levels, and especially also in the frontal lobe. So clearing the lobes of the brain, the frontal lobe, parental lobe, occipital lobe in the back of your brain, left and right lobes, is a very important meditation one can do at this time, and invite the participation of the divine with it. Invite armies of light, invite your reconnection, because the more we delete old limitations, meaning we allow them at some point, the more we start to expand. And at the level of expansion beyond soul, we move into spirit consciousness as a creator self that defeats the ego within the soul. We rise beyond what is the absence of knowledge, the absence of intelligence, and the absence of inspirited creations, and we receive creative capabilities like by the masses. And these can be encoded through our embodiment. So when we start to work with light codes, and we start to open them in from within, we start to receive the pulsations that pulse with the entire universe as an eternal being. So the first step would be to step from personal will into divine will, always in alignment, always directed, always in divine timing is what it means, because then the divine can direct you. When you live on free personal will, there's no direction. And so we get lost oftentimes. And so the universe is packed by the masters with life coding. It's the origin of creation. And we can receive that at any time when we open up and we start to feel the pulses. When we feel the pulses, when we feel the pulse of our spark self, it would expand in the design to the heart and the high heart center. When we feel the pulse of our source self, we truly reconnect, we invite a redirection. These pulses go east, west, north, south, and they elevate consciousness and accelerate the elimination from the old worlds, actually. And that entails learning to work with millions and billions of colors, or at least the first 22 ways of a light body. So working with your light body and moving out of dual consciousness requires the working mechanics of triangular consciousness, moving, for example, in a triplicate design, moving with, instead of one thing and the other, we move in triangular fashion. We allow this, we allow that, and we allow it to come together. That's triangular fashion. And that opens vast consciousness beyond their own limitation, especially when it comes to feeling stuck, feeling these patterns that are from the old worlds where we allowed somebody actually to take over our consciousness, and what broke us and whatever happened and whatever we experience can be and must be eliminated. So it's truly with standing still and being conscious of what it is that holds you back in the old system and reason why you keep on attracting the old same stuff going on and never breaking through. One of them is not uplifting consciousness, not uplifting meditational alignment into the next level, not going from the old astral plane that is the captivity all the way into your galactic universal embodiment, where higher technologies come through. Technologies are designs, they are sacred geometrical pattern, but modernized, not the old ways. And so that starts opening when we pulsate the eye of the divine, or at least open up mentality and psychology where the eye can move all the way with divine instructions. Otherwise, when the body is piled with destructive energies from the allowance within self, even if it's very, very unconscious, we need to eliminate it because energy actually speaks for itself. You attract what you are. The divine would say, end of the line. Start to understand energy. You cannot attract what you are not. And that is where the bigger picture comes in. That is where you start to have fun. That is where you start to enjoy life. And without joy, fun, and really appreciating creation and studying what creation is about, how can we rise in consciousness, working with all the galaxies, working with all the universes, because it's all within, it's all in the inside out. And of course, at such a very important time right now, you will see a lot of fusions or people taking the very, very, very easy road into the absence of intelligence, that is AI. Artificial intelligence rewrites on a continuum the old all of the time because it has no capacity to think, it has no capacity to download fresh data, it has no capacity to get new information. Evolution states new information comes through 24/7. So if we take information from like 3 months ago, it's already old. And so imagine the encoding that AI has and how it can never accelerate your attitude. It can never accelerate or open up in living light because it has no light. It is a dead zone entering. And of course, anything dead is being promoted to keep you in the false premises. So here, living light is opening up to everybody who wants to align to the divine, who wants to return home. And so that's a huge division line compared to synthetic living we were used to, because artificial intelligence has no respect, it has no oneness, no idea what oneness means. There is no divinity. And so people feel something is going on, and so they want to reconnect with the divine on a higher scale. Many went through an up and down, going through the largest alignments possible, and then all of a sudden just drop everything just because there's so many reasons for it. And if there is a reason to drop it, then already that is a negative force embedding upon the self. So here, um, when we look at AI, all we see is competition, competition, competition. That is far apart from divinity in unity. We are moving once again together. We start to create once again together. I mean, if in the background I take one particle, if I want to communicate with that particle, I need to become one with it. And of course, I will myself I will give myself the optimum time to do that and refine the embodiment until it awakens from one level into the next, not just bound to the earth, because that would get very, very boring. So I have no idea where AI is going into. At least what I've seen, it cuts your creator vibration down to zero because you actually don't have to do anything anymore. They do everything for you. So the whole goal is cut off your capacity to think further, to think in evolution, your capacity to be with the divine, because touching and allowing the energy of AI may break your divine connectivity, where everything is high level, extreme intelligence, extreme knowledge we can tap into. And so when lowering the information and synthetics from AI in there, you agree to it. And when you agree to these lower vibrations, you have to continue to cut low vibrations out of the energy field in order to keep up with what the divine is bringing through. And that is, the entire planet is in a rejuvenation process, a purification through the soil, to the lightening up, to everything in nature. The entire geological structure is reinventing themselves. We need to reinvent ourselves and becoming one again. So I'm very happy to see that finally people are taking the awakening process very serious right now. And one can, the best and easiest way getting back into your higher self is connecting to your spark self. That opens through a light body foundation. When you work with light, you breathe that through, at least in the white invisible lightning process and the golden chemistry that it just brings through everything. And if you stick to it, the divine will hear you. The angelic kingdoms will hear you, the masters will see and hear you, and assistance will come in by the masses. But you need to do the work yourself and upgrade from there. So I regret to see many, many people dropping their alignment so easily, even if they're in a high level imagination in their particular meditation. Alignment is everything, because you get directed what to do, what not to do, what to leave behind, how to get in your creator consciousness and really uplifting your vibration in where you touch your particular skill. When we touch our skill, we open up our energetic signature that lifts from birth into where it matches where we were before birthing on the planet. When that clicks and matches, things open up with the eye opening up in the eternal eye, the eye of the divine, the immortal eye. It starts to pulse 360 degrees, and it opens light codes by the masters. So for those who are not aware of it yet, I created this new book, The Eye of the Divine, with all the new light codes coming through. And that is very informative because it has the light codes coming through as I work on a level into the celestial universal omni dragon waves. And so there you get the coding with the higher ways. The higher ways are very, very special because they also come through with gemstone ways. And so I created a pack of light codes coming through every day, and these are 55 cards that assist your vibration to lift out of the old fields, especially if you have so much stuck consciousness where you feel everything is being just repeated and repeated, meaning the obvious is being offered on a platter that you keep on repeating old formats. You allow the old from the outside in. You are not defeating it. And so when divinity opens up and you have that decision, which I'm sure many, many want to move out of that duality, that competition, that hate, that anger, all these lower forms, they cannot possibly exist in unity. So there's gonna be a huge exodus for people not willing to move forward, and those willing to move forward somehow will find it very beneficial to become one and infinite, because we cannot imagine co-creating with many species in the galaxies where we can see them as you can see me, and them inviting you to create something in certain spaces where it is needed on the planet, and restructure some spaces. So depending on your skill, depending on your interest, depending on where you're at, that is very, very useful and beneficial. So I would truly take at heart every day, reconnect to your spark self, invite the higher self to move through your pillar of light. When you move through the chakra system, that is also division, right? It's different layers. There's no unity, and it was set up by densities. Chakras do not exist in the universe. They are all fused, and so all these energies throughout the body become a pillar of light. And when you invite your pillar of light rising here, you invite your higher self to pulse, to detect what is keeping you in this lower level, and then you open up to the higher spiritual self that only opens when merging the celestial, celestial vibrations with your universal form. So a light body is needed in order to perform magic, and then the magic come true. Like I receive light codes every day now, and also many who do know the keys of Enoch, the book by Hertak, and I find it very interesting, but we already moving beyond it. And so Enoch is suggesting that we align to the keys of Enoch that are modernized. So there's a lot of thing that is still going on, but a lot of things have, let's say, polished or upgraded because we are in evolution, right? It is still very interesting, but for now, for myself, the most interesting thing is always that everything through which creation came into creation, set in by the divine creator, is always liquid, golden ley lines, and they pulse, from what I've seen, always with particular pulse points. And these pulse points through which all universes, everything in creation has been set up, and your entire body as well, through crystalline gridding, they open up divine designs and light coding. And so the next era of self-development comes through light coding, as I have been opening through my book. Is another one very interesting. I love that one. Just pulling, I will pull a few immediately, and to see where you're at. So even if you became stagnant and stopped your alignment somehow, and you dropped it, which happens to all of us. There are very strong people who just keep it up and keep on going and going. That is so fantastic. And there's those awakening today, connecting to their spark self, their source self, their infinite self, while polishing in and getting into the degrees of self-protection, which is very important at this time. So here I'm asking the divine what would be most beneficial for all of you to code in, to think about, to move on, and really keep the heart vibration to the highest level that you can, because it's so important. So I'm just pulling one. I'm gonna go very quickly. Two, and another one is three. So let's see what that brings through. Oh la 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 la. It's very interesting. So I have the number 36, that is the lady gent, female sun, coming together. You can see 36 makes up a 9. It is the golden chemistry that needs to open up. It has the Hebrew letter P, because the entire tree of life and our entire light form moves on chemistry held by the Hebrew letter P. It brings male female energy. Any imbalance, it just flushes the imbalances out like very, very quickly. And so let's see how that moves up in the book. What we have here. Um, so the gold way is bringing in the chemistry transition. With the transition of all the elements, you see, when you call for the elements, it comes to that the darkest of purple you can see in the background. And so it opens the golden key to close the fissures in the brain. We have a lot of fissures that came in with birthing in the astral plane, in duality, in the malfunctioning, in the very densified earth frequencies. And so it closes the fissures of the brain, closing off from very low soul consciousness and allowing the flow beyond the broken veins of synthetics. Therefore, the Hebrew letter P that we have here is a very high frequency if you look at it, because the gold tones, gold come to everything in creation, and it has many, many applications. So we have pink gold, red gold, purple gold, green gold. And so it fuses, it removes, it merges, it connects, while rising into the full spectrum of the pillar of light and creating that bridge of light termed Arcturus. So this morning I actually had Arcturus here in my meditation. I was very, very surprised. So I was directed to once again, or for the first time, to go in a deep state of meditation and allow myself to work with the green emerald great highway opening up right now on the planet. And so that direction is truly fusing in, because as I said, I work a lot with the keys of Enoch, and this is one of it. And I said, but yeah, I really want to move on and foster And I want to receive more light codes that moves like, oh, oh, they said. You want all that? And if you want to move faster, then you need a deeper elimination of the pituitary gland that functions on truth, bringing truth. That is what is being hosted in, let's say, the opening with the keys of Enoch. And if you want to move very fast with these keys from one into the next, into the universal omni beyond dragon race, then Enoch immediately showed me an icosahedron, or yeah, and it was pulsing with massive rainbow rays from top to bottom, so north, south. And they put it in my pituitary, and there was expansion upon expansion upon expansion, but you need that alignment into going from the I am presence into the omnipresence. You need to be willing to go to all the galaxies we could see in the back of this screen. And so I was so surprised, and I'll definitely will design that particular code so that it's freshly lined up. Then the next one here, what I pulled, oh, couldn't be better. That is card number 30, the creator self. 30 is the grounder. The planes opening up, it's very beautiful. It's red, orange. You can see the waves of the creator. It's a female waves. It has that particular spiritual ring, that purple ring around it as a protection in the Black Omni universe, and it will ask you to pulse with it. So let's see what a little bit of the book says here. Open up. We have that card here, and that was number 30, right? So the number 30, I would say, it also flows with the Hebrew letter Beit. Beit is the creator center. You can see that on it. You can just tone Yode Beit, Vavhe, or bring Beit, think Beit. You don't have to know anything Hebrew to be able to do it. But it's the orange creator ray that brings the joy, allows you to move through dimensions while recreating and pushing forward into a higher degree of allowance. Like I said, if I don't ask, like, hey, I want to have a faster movement and this and that, if I had to first eliminate something to achieve it, I would have been told so. Doesn't mean I don't have anything to eliminate. I have masses. Everybody has. And so we pulse and we pulse and we pulse into higher consciousness. So toning this ladder offers a very, very deep release from the emotional fields, especially the hypothalamic gland, that needs to flow with the entire river of life. If we don't align to the river of light, which is your origin, flowing with the water body of the planet, we are already all water. And so when we do not eliminate very heavy emotional thought forms through the hypothalamic gland that hosts, that directs the water purification in the body, it becomes very difficult to rise into this next era, because when emotions feel stuck, we find difficulty to express ourselves. And so there's a lot of alignments here that we can just keep on pulsing through and pulsing through, because it matters. It matters that we purify and that we move on to the next. So, and the last layer they brought through is the number 11. That's your grounding, makes up 2. And that is very, very complementary, because we can see, especially at this moment in time, we are living the Black universe. We have the sunset and the sunrise equalizing into the wet vibration that were lost on the planet, and reason why they could come up with such huge levels of control. The black omni universe, that is the container of almost everything in the golden alchemy, with the pulsation of north, south, east, west point. And when we work with this particular code, when we put ourselves in this symbol, we work with it, it starts pulsing, eliminating at the speed of light. So let me just read an anecdote from the book. Like, there's many pages in the book. They would explain, they have like an invocation, there is meditation, there is a complete explanation of this particular black spin. And so it is a metaphysical construct, actually, in visual form, as it centers the black sphere. Uh, it is very dense and very reflected. This, by the way, is one of the first design I ever created years ago, but now it becomes the most potent design, and it's very reflected by the gold eternal coiling wings that spiral horizontally around it, because it needs to open the chemistry and gives the impression of a continuum of motion. So when we pulse that to the brain, especially the pituitary, and we open up the black spin, we see the golden measures around it. It immediately deletes. We can put it all around the body, live within it, ask it questions. It's very potent because it represents the black omni universe, and so it equates as well to the absolute void. And when we break through the void, we start to see everything, like in creation, formatting, like everything starts to pulse, and we actually open that gate to the void, which is the entire axis spin that opens the light realms merging with the physical realms. So here, there's so much information. So it's available on my website for those still interested in buying that. It freshly came out, and I see so many feedback from people enjoying it every day, because the alignments are easy, the results are massive. That's what we need. So it couldn't be more accurate. So working with these, the orange and black always goes together. And of course, we have the golden chemistry. I mean, when you work with that, you open up your sacral center. You can even just put that symbol in the sacral to lift it up, to go beyond the bloating, the malfunctioning of the old synthetics, which we experience through the food, which we experience through so many things. And so these light codes align one upon the other, and there's massive, you can read more about these light codes, about my website, and what the meaning is, or you can just pull a card up there if you find that very pleasant. I'll share a screen here and show you how that functions. So here, here you have actually an idea. You can see these light codes, you can click on them and invite them to work with you, what it does to the body, what it does to your brain. And so the explanations are there because they are modernized. They are created on sacred geometry that is there for today. And that is very important to understand, to actually experience, read about it. And so because they are universal, so I'll stop sharing here. You can visit it at any time, because when you feel the pulse and you want to move out of things that keep on repeating themselves in your life, you want to break free from these limitations, then this book will definitely offer you massive insight, because it is the eye of the divine activating light codes. The universe is created on light codes. So it couldn't get really any better. And then it opens up one design upon the other. You can align, you can resurrect, you can learn from it. Because when we stop learning, we stop consciousness to function. I'm in a learning mode from, I mean, since I was born, and I want to learn. I want to just know everything. I want to travel. I want to learn languages. I want to know the technology of the universe. I want to know the passion. I want to know what more can I do with these codes. And so that already is a lot. And so with the meditations and alignments and seminars that I offer, I see people transition very fast. And I love it. And so it stimulates me as well as people come up with their stories like, hey, I've been going through this, and it's moving so fast. So really, don't allow yourself to struggle with anything. Take the courage, the divine alignment to connect with your spark self, your intuition. Allow it to move through. Spend time with the divine in the morning, at night, at sunset. It is actually at sunset that the divine spirit rises, that the world rests, that you can access anything you would ever have wanted. Thank you so much for being with me. Enjoy it. Leave a comment. Be with us and let's start to unify because everybody is in great need of the gathering. Thank you so much. I'm Charlie Chi.